Hey there, so today we have another review, and this is a beer from De Garde. This is De Garde's The Framboise. This is a spontaneous sour beer, and I'm really excited to try it. I've done the cherry, I've done the raspberry, and now we're on to raspberry, Framboise. And so this is a spontaneous wild ale aged in oak port barrels, 6.5%, so let's dig into it. First off, the beer pours out absolutely beautiful. You can sort of see that carnation pink head, and as I pour more, we get some of that rising up. You can also see simply the color of the beer is absolutely insane. In the light, it has a deep, beautiful ruby color to it. Away, it almost looks like a light, kind of bloody, kind of red color to it. Just beautiful. Look at that pink on that head. I mean, just absolutely insane. So anyway, let's gorgeous beer. Let's try the aroma on this one. So it doesn't really jump out with a ton of jammy fruit flavor. Instead, the beer is really mixed in well with that, and that's sort of the fermentation. I mean, there's funkiness, there's acidity. It's not quite Cantillon kind of like intense lambic funk, but there's certainly a little bit of that kind of, what do you call it? It's baby diaper kind of thing. Nice acidity, the wood. It's just decently sour, and on the nose, it's just not clearly, it's fruited, but yeah, it's sort of like raspberry seeds. It's just not jump in your face like I'm biting into a raspberry. It's just like the whispers of raspberry, and you can sort of tell by the nose at some point that it's like, all right, it's probably raspberry. Cheers. Okay, nice, wow. So first off, beer is quite sour, medium plus acidity to this beer. It, again, cells of beautiful yogurt flavor. It's that lactic attack on this. So lactic is sort of the flavor you get from yogurt. And again, anytime I have a fruited sour with a good amount of lactic acidity, I'm just thinking of a cup of yogurt with that fruit on the bottom thing. You scoop up the fruit, and that's what you get here. You get this like dairy kind of acidity to it. It's kind of creamy acidity. The fruit comes in the bottom. And the fruit is not really jammy fruit, just like the nose. It's a raspberry seed acidity. You know what it really tastes like? It tastes like you've used a raspberry for something, pumped out all the juice, and then you sort of have the skins in there, you sort of have the seeds, and it's just whispers of raspberry flavor. I'm not saying that's what they did to this beer. The raspberries were probably part of fermentation, so the bugs were eating away at the raspberries, and so they've done something to the raspberry, then simply making a beer, dumping a bunch of raspberry to it, which is what a lot of simple sours are, your kettle sours, your Berliners, and stuff like that. This is a complex fruit flavor, so it's really the whispers and the complexities of raspberries and simply sweet, jammy flavor. As I speak, oh man, the complexity is nice. The raspberry flavor just lingers, and it's sort of like you just want to keep thinking more about raspberry than just simply the candy flavor that you get out of like a chemical. Back end, there's a little bit of acidic. I like the balance of lactic up front and a little bit of acidic up front, a little bit of tingle on the back end. Beer is still quite tart. I'm curious if the port barrel is contributing any fruity characteristics, because that probably blended maybe with the raspberries. Not necessarily tasting that. A little bit of drying oak on the back end. Beer is also extremely carbonated. Brightly carbonated, which helps accentuate the acidity on this one. So probably if you let the decant with the acidity, the carbonation sort of drive out, it'll probably drive out some of the perception of acidity as well. So as for rating, this is absolutely insane. I will say I probably prefer the Creek the most. This is around where the raspberry is, but it's still extremely well executed sour beer. This beer for me is getting a 97. Great. I mean, De Garde just absolutely kills it. Super complex beer, wonderful fruited sour, spontaneous fruited sour. Until next time, guys, cheers. Later.